เคยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมราชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท C-Wallet ค่ะ C-Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้างคอมเพทิทีฟสูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีศศิลป์แล้วก็มี SCGC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องC-Walletด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge อัศสิน
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคมและนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ในศศิลป์นะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปีเพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
สติที่คุณมีอาจยังไม่พอเพราะโจรอัปเดตกลโกงไปไกลเราก็ต้องอัปเดตสติให้ทัน
รับซื้อบัญชีมันจะเอาไปทำไมแต่ได้เงินตั้งเยอะเอาก็ได้
อัปเดตสติ
ขายบัญชีให้คนอื่นเสี่ยงผิดกฎหมายเกือบไปแล้วไหมล่ะ
เฮ้ยเงินภาษีคือแล้ววะ
ลิงก์มันดูแปลกๆนะ
เฮ้ยไม่ได้ไม่ให้แอปดูดเงินจริงด้วยเจอลิงก์แปลกอย่าคลิก
เฮ้ยน้องร้อนเงินอ่ะพี่ช่วยได้กู้ผ่านแน่นอนแต่ต้องมีค่าดำเนินการด้วยนะ
ในหน้าเถื่อนอย่าหลงเชื่อกู้กับแบงค์ได้เองได้เงินเต็มจำนวน
มันเถื่อนอะไรอ่ะลูกรู้ได้ไง
รู้เพราะอัปเดตสติแล้ว
โจรอัปเดตทุกวันแค่ใช้สติอย่างเดียวไม่พอ ต้องอัปเดตกลโกงใหม่ๆ ด้วยนะ
เกือบติดคุกหัวโตแล้ว
อัปเดตสติป้องกันสตางค์
นัทเคยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมราชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท Wallet ค่ะ Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้างคอมเพทิทีฟสูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีศศิลป์แล้วก็มี SCGC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องซิวาเลตด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge สสิน
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคมและนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge สสินเนี่ยนะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปีเพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
สติที่คุณมีอาจยังไม่พอเพราะโจรอัปเดตกลโกงไปไกลเราก็ต้องอัปเดตสติให้ทัน
รับซื้อบัญชี มันจะเอาไปทำไม แต่ได้เงินตั้งเยอะเอาก็ได้
ตสติ
ขายบัญชีให้คนอื่นเสี่ยงผิดกฎหมาย เกือบไปแล้วไหมล่ะ
เฮ้ยนี่เงินภาษีคือแล้ววะ
ลิงก์มันดูแปลกๆนะโอ้ย
เฮ้ย
เอา
ไม่ได้ ไม่ให้ เฮ้ยแอปดูดเงินจริงด้วย เจอลิงก์แปลกอย่าคลิก
เฮ้ยน้อง ร้อนเงินอ่ะ พี่ช่วยได้ กูผ่านแน่นอน แต่ต้องมีค่าดำเนินการด้วยนะ
ในหน้าเถื่อนอย่าหลงเชื่อ กู้กับแบงค์ได้เอง ได้เงินเต็มจำนวน
มันเขื่อนอะไรอ่ะ รู้ได้ไง
รู้เพราะอัปเดตสติแล้ว
โจรอัปเดตทุกวัน แค่ใช้สติอย่างเดียวไม่พอ ต้องอัปเดตกลโกงใหม่ๆ ด้วยนะ
เกือบติดคุกหัวโตแล้ว
อัปเดตสติป้องกันสตางค์
Check, check. Hello, good afternoon, participants. Good afternoon to the honorable judges and to everyone else that is watching here at Sasin and there at home through the live stream. Welcome to the Sustainability Award round of the SCG Bangkok Business Challenge at the Sasin Global Competition. My name is Rosanna Hensen. I am a circular economy expert, author, and researcher here at Sasin, so I'll be very interested in this round, and I am your moderator today at the Sustainability Round. So before we kick off this round with the first lucky team that's already preparing there in the back, let's discuss the format. So it's clear to everyone present here that we all know what is happening, what is the timing, etc. There are 4 teams presenting this afternoon, and each team has 25 minutes for their presentation. After 5 minutes, the judges can interject, ask questions when they feel they need to do so and when they want to get things clear. Now, to the people that it's all about today, the sustainability finalists, where are you? I know some of 2 are there. I think the other teams may be already competing in the other rounds, in the playoffs, so they'll come in when they're ready. You will receive 4 time warnings during the presentation. The first one is after 5 minutes. You will see a big interactive sign on the screen, and that will let you know that the judges can start asking your questions. The next time warnings are at 3 minutes, 1 minute, and when the time is up. And last but not least, to the audience, to the people who are sitting here, maybe the people that are watching, please here show consideration and turn off your devices, or at least turn off the sound. And please try to not go in and out of the room. It can really, well, affect the concentration of our participants. This is their moment to shine. So please support, clap, show your enthusiasm here in the audience, because your active presence will really encourage them to inspire the judges here even more. So, speaking about the judges, let me introduce you to them. First up, Dr. Siranchaya Prichapatsakul, Investment Advisor at Circular Capital Thailand. Welcome. The second one, Jasper Rees Antonsen, Managing Director, Patterson Jewelry. Then, next to him is Kun Kopkarn Watanfrakul, Chairperson at Toshiba Thailand. And last but not least, it's Kun Sukich Ontenu, Sustainability Columnist, Daily News Sustainable Sunday. So, with further ado, we can start the first presentation. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, so this team is called Green Acres. They are from Cornell University in the USA. Please give them a warm applause and give them some energy. Thank you. So, how are you feeling?
All right, let's
Ready
go.
to kick it?
It would have been nice to have enough time to run down for coffee, but
maybe afterwards.
We're ready. Let's go.
Okay, so we will start the clock as soon as you're ready, as soon as you start talking. 25 minutes. Let's go.
Yes,
Good luck.
Ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, judges. Imagine a world of all biosustainable, everyday items. From paper to clothes, building materials to plastics, animal bedding to feminine hygiene products. Well, It is possible because they can all be made out of hemp. Hi, my name is Haley Green. I'm the founder and CEO of Green Acres Processing, and I'm joined today by my COO, Danielle Falcon. We aren't here to talk to you about an app or a new novel concept idea. We're here to talk to you about why the United States is falling behind in the race to replace petroleum-based products. We are here to talk to you about building a sustainable supply chain for sustainable goods. We are here to talk to you about creating well-paying jobs and keeping agriculture a viable option. We are here to talk to you about our innovative business model that will lead the industrial hemp revolution in the United States and create a sustainable future. Processed hemp is one of the best alternatives for petroleum-based products, and we need to ensure that there's a viable, sustainable supply chain. Records show that hemp has been used throughout the world for thousands of years, and prior to its banning in the United States in the 1930s, it was used for a variety of the items I previously listed. In fact, in 1941, Henry Ford made a bioplastic Model T out of hemp, and it ran on hemp biofuels. Let that sink in. This climate crisis caused by the petroleum industry could have disappeared long ago if we just continued to use hemp biofuel instead of petroleum-based fuel for our vehicles. In the US, between 2021 and 2022, there was 6 million pounds of hemp harvested but not sold, mainly because of a lack of fiber processors. The lack of processors can be traced directly back to the barriers to entry in the market. There are many. Given that no one was planting hemp for close to 100 years, there's a complete lack of knowledge about growing and processing hemp. There's a disconnect between the growers and the processors, and the unknowns about an emerging market are daunting. Processing equipment and the facilities that they're in are expensive, as are the permits, testing, and seeds. Yes, we will face challenges, but the opportunities to make headway in the emerging market while encouraging sustainable economic and environmental growth in New York far outweigh those challenges. And that's where Green Acres Processing comes in.
Thank you, Haley. So Green Acres Processing uses an integrative, unique business model coupled with a strong team. These two things together help us overcome many of those barriers to entry for this market. So as a processor, we'll work hand in hand with our farmers, ensuring that we build their trust from our knowledge, our interaction with them, and also by promising to purchase their hemp at above market prices. We have a unique business model that focuses on a dual revenue stream, with our primary revenue stream coming from the B2B transactions with manufacturers. We work with contract farmers. They give us the hemp. We process that hemp into fiber and hurd. We then utilize the B2B transactions to sell that processed fiber and hurd to the manufacturers who make it into final state goods. Our secondary revenue stream is through our contract toll processing, where we work directly with farmers who are growing hemp independently. We process that hemp into fiber and hurd, give it back to the farmer, and the farmer is the one who actually sells to the manufacturers who provide those in-state goods. So taking a look at our seed to sale process, it's important to note that we do have an innovative model that really focuses on de-risking the growing for the farmers. That means that we'll hold on to those hemp licenses during the grow. We also will be the ones that provide both the seed and the testing for the hemp throughout the grow. Again, that de-risks much of that growing for the farmers. Once we provide the seed, the farmers plant the seeds, the hemp grows for 100 to 120 days, and then we can harvest. After harvesting, the hemp is baled, much like you see hay bales. It then can be stored indefinitely, or it can move on to the processing stage. When it's moved to the processing stage, it goes through a decorticator, which is in our processing facility, and is turned into its two main components, which are fiber and hemp. That fiber and hemp is then sold to manufacturers, and they will produce that final state goods. The primary manufacturers that we're looking at right now are paper, feminine hygiene, animal bedding, and building materials. We currently have verbal agreements with 2 companies, Trace, which is a feminine hygiene company who has promised to buy our fiber, and LA Dressage, which is a horse stable that's promised to buy our herd. Now, a key aspect of our business is our focus on sustainability. We address 11 of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals through our focus on sustainability, community, and connection. First, we have our regenerative farming practices. Hemp uses less water, less pesticides, and less fertilizers than our traditional corn and soy crops that we usually see in upstate New York. Hemp rejuvenates the soil as it grows, actually pulling nitrogen back into the soil and making it a regenerative crop. It also sequesters up to 7 times more carbon per acre than an acre of trees. Second, we have our responsible processing. So our facility is designed to be completely off-grid and run off of solar and wind power. We're focusing on growers within 100 miles of the plant and manufacturers within 250 miles of our plant. This ensures that we're not wasting a lot of emissions on the transportation of that unprocessed and processed hemp. We have a goal of 0 waste by selling the byproducts and working with Cornell and other hemp processors, ensuring that we are creating new ways to use those byproducts and more efficient processing technology. Finally, we have our community action. We are focused on a pay equity ratio of 4-to-1 across all of our employees. We're dedicated to giving 5% of our profits to local organizations that are focused on supporting women, farmers, and veterans. We're encouraging additional manufacturers to move within that 250 miles and farmers within that 100-mile radius to start growing hemp. Again, a sustainable powerhouse crop. Now, taking a look at our market, we see that our total addressable market is $2.8 billion. This takes into account all of the licenses held within the United States if they were to grow hemp on all of that acreage. When we look at our addressable market, we have $27 million. So this is really focused on bringing that, truncating that area into just the state of New York. And then when we take the limitations of our single decorticator, we can see that our market, obtainable market sits at $12.6 million. Now, really focusing in on our customers and competition. As mentioned earlier, we do have 2 primary customers, manufacturers focused on sustainable goods, and then also our hemp growers in the area. So looking at the competition, our primary competition for manufacturers is going to be where manufacturers currently buy their hemp products. Right now, it's Montana, China, and France. And to be clear, China is focused on long fiber, France is focused on building materials. Green Acres Processing will be focused on short fibers and herd. As you can see, all of those are quite far away from the growers in New York. Now, when we look at the competition for our farmers, we're going to see it's going to be processors within the United States. Looking at this map, we can see that processors really are few and far between. And though there are additional processors set to come online in the next few years, none of them are located in New York. So again, our primary customers are going to be those manufacturers. Yes?
You showed the map before. Can you go one back? I can see that Green Acres is New York, which are totally in one end of America, North America, US. Why not move the factory into the middle to actually be covering a bigger area?
Thank you for the question. So just to reiterate, a lot of these are not actually online yet, that they are attempting to come online by 2025. So in that sense, there could be a one in New York since we are attempting to come online. But the main reason actually for not being located in the middle of the country, so Montana is currently IND Hemp. They're the #1 hemp processor and grower in the United States at this time. The USDA national average for yield per acre of hemp is a little over 3,000 pounds per acre. And the reason it's so low is because in the Midwest, the soil is not as good for growing. The conditions, it's not wet enough. Whereas when Cornell has been growing and looking at their yield averages, they're getting 8,000 pounds per acre. So there's a huge difference in the yield capacity between the Midwest and New York. And with the yield comes the amount of carbon sequestration that we can do. So the amount of carbon that we'll be sequestering per acre is going to be much greater than what they're seeing in Montana.
Thank you. Makes sense.
And I think another key point with that is that Haley owns a 265-acre farm in upstate New York, which kind of makes it a little easier to start the grow process as well. Okay, just going back to our primary customers, again, we are focused on building material, feminine hygiene products, paper, and animal bedding. And as you can see, just taking a look at our charts, these industries, or these markets, continue to grow throughout the United States. Since 2017, we're seeing year-over-year growth, both in each of the individual industries, so textiles, personal care, animal care, and the other segment, which would include our feminine hygiene products and the like. But also when we look at just the general North American reliance and dependence on hemp. Our secondary customers are going to be those independent hemp farmers. Now, corn and soybeans, you can see how much per acre that our independent hemp farmers are earning, and you can also see how much they can make when growing and selling fiber and hurd. And you can see that it's a lot higher. But on top of that, what we see is that we have solar companies coming into New York, and they're actually offering farmers $1,500 an acre to build solar panels on that land. So what our plan is to actually pay them $1,600 an acre for each of those acres that they're growing the hemp. So we can not only outcompete the corn and soybean, but also outcompete those industries that are coming in for solar power.
I have another question about the community, especially the farmers. You're helping the community. I think to strike the sustainability is not only the income, but also the food security. So if you change their crop from corn, soybean to fiber, how can you answer about the food security so that maybe they earn more money, but about the food for the future, what will happen?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And I can maybe clarify it by we should have just put cow, corn, and soybean. I actually didn't know when I moved to my farm that there were different types of soybeans. I thought I was picking edamame off the plant, and man, was I in for a nasty surprise. So it's not human food security that we would be talking about. It would be for the cows would have slightly less corn and soybeans, but they're going to be just fine. In addition, it's been proven in the past decade or so of growing throughout Europe that when you add hemp to your rotational crop series, the next plant grows better, specifically corn. So if you're planting hemp in 2023 and you plan to plant corn in 2024, you'll get a better yield of that corn in that field than you did 10 years prior when you didn't have hemp in the rotation. And back to the community point that you made, we're really trying to think very holistically. Sustainability isn't just about the amount of carbon we can sequester because we're growing hemp, or that we're going to have a state-of-the-art, off-the-grid manufacturing facility. From top to bottom, we want to be as sustainable as possible for the business and for the community. And as Danielle mentioned, we are committed to a 4-to-1 pay equity ratio. We will be incorporating as a certified B Corp. And we will also, which is very unheard of, be giving vesting equity options to all employees and the farmers. So I'm paying you to grow hemp on your property, and I'm also offering you equity in my company if you stay on board.
Adding to that,
yes.
According to the U.S. law, are there any regulation for hemp farmer? Because sometimes I think it was banned for a couple of years.
Yep.
And then it's legal again.
Yes.
Are there anything that control for that?
Absolutely. So in 2018, the U.S. Farm Bill re-legalized the growing of hemp, which is federally and I think internationally defined as the cannabis sativa L plant with less than 0.3% THC. So it's very segregated from the cannabis that you smoke. Don't go over to my booth. There's nothing of interest. But so yes, there are regulations. Every state is different. It is federally regulated under the USDA, and every single hemp farmer must currently have a USDA grow license, which we do have. We have around 1 acre in the ground that we're trialing right now. And every state has different permit fees. So New York is $500 that I don't know what they do with it. And then every state also has their own testing requirements. So in New York, we will have New York Ag and Markets come to my field and test every different variety, probably from different stocks. One of the biggest risks that we'll be taking off the farmers is this testing requirement. It is costly, and if by chance you have a hot field, which means it's over 0.3% THC, you have to burn it. So that is what crop insurance is for. It is a risk we're willing to take, but it's something that's interesting about the industry that you don't do with corn. Any other questions, or shall we continue? Oh, yes.
Who else will benefit from this business? Besides the farmers and you?
Hopefully everyone.
How?
As we mentioned, because hemp can be used for so many things, and I truly believe, and the research that's coming out of Cornell's Hemp Masters program shows that we know less about the plant than we do know. We're not sure how many things it can make. I rattled off a list: paper to clothes. I don't have it with me, but I have a sweatshirt that is 100% made out of clothes. When Patagonia sells you and they upcharge you for their hemp line, it's only 30%. But when you put that hemp shirt on, it feels different to you than if you were in a fully linen or full cotton shirt. When you go into a building, it's more breathable. The air is better. It's really incredible. I was in France last week, and I was in for the first time complete buildings made out of hemp. And it's not like concrete. And additionally, like if you need a freezer room, it takes less energy to keep it cool. I was in a series of freezer rooms. The first one was 1 degree Celsius. There was a little space for air passage. The next one was at 10 degrees. There was no wind or air being pumped into the 10 degrees. It was all just transferring back and forth from the 1 degree Celsius room. It's really amazing what you can do with just a plant. And this research and the technology still has to catch up.
I know you're good at slides. Do you have a slides where you compare different corn, soya beans, other things on the what you call carbon release, on whatever?
I do not have that, I'm sorry. It is something that I will look into, though, for you.
So I think the closest that we have is actually... Sorry, this slide right here. So this compares, so the use of pesticides, erosion for the soil, or soil compaction, water consumption, biodiversity, agrobiodiversity, and then the nutrient depletion. So it's not specific to carbon, but it does show you when we're taking a look at hemp, which is one of the two highlighted rows, that we score an A in a large portion of those categories. So it is definitely beneficial for the farmers and for the soil that it's growing on.
Okay, let's talk to the manufacturing then. What to call that? Does your manufacturing cost more or have a bigger impact on the world's economy system than using other material to process?
Given that we are truly designing the factory from the ground up with the goal of being off the grid, I know that the processing equipment we intend to buy can be run solely off of wind energy. We are in a great area for wind energy. For some reason, they are saying at this moment in time, they don't have battery capacity on solar for the processing equipment, but we can still use solar for the rest of the energy we need to run the manufacturing facility. So I think, therefore, we will be able to severely drop our long-run costs by not having high utility bills.
So we can see that the market and the customers really are making noise about hemp at the moment. Not only do they want additional processors, they need additional hemp processors to make sure that we can move forward with the supply chain and provide hemp to the state of New York and eventually, hopefully, the rest of the United States.
You keep it, you do it. Here we see our plan for growth. We are not about over-promising and under-delivering. We have a multi-phase business plan that will ensure success of high-quality growth hemp. We are currently in our setup phase. We have our industrial hemp license. We have 1 acre trial. Next year, we plan to contract with 5 to 10 farmers and grow 100 acres, still in a trial-ish phase where we want to be looking at a number of the different varieties of hemp. By 2025, we will grow 250 acres. We will also have processed and sold our first 100 acres worth of fiber and hurd. And then by 2027, we will be almost at scale in our 1 decorticator line and looking to expand into additional facilities, possibly in additional states, knowing that our proof of concept was proved in our first facility up to 1,000 acres. Next slide. Here's a quick financial snapshot. Our CapEx is $4.7 million. We're looking at a steady state total cash flow year over year, a little over $7 million, which gets us to, once we're fully operational, to a $68 million valuation. A quick revenue snapshot shows that we will be profitable, even drastically under scale by year 2. We are currently seeking $2 million towards our StartX costs, which will be used for a down payment on 1 decorticator line and down payments on our facility build. We plan on raising the additional funds necessary towards our total StartX through federal and state grants, including the Inflation Reduction Act, to drastically help reduce the CapEx for green facilities. We have a great team. Between the two of us, we have a ton of experience in operational management, strategy, analytics, and farming. And where we don't have experience, we have secured advisors, and we are still building the advisors out. Dr. Heather Grab, who unfortunately couldn't join us on this trip, but is a lead professor in Cornell's School of Agriculture on hemp cultivation and processing, has been critical to getting us to where we are today. Our innovative business model will help lead the industrial hemp revolution in the United States. The integration of our growing and our processing is critical to that. Green Acres Processing is committed to, above all, doing good by lifting up farmers and creating a sustainable future for our community, the economy, and the planet. Join us.
One more question.
Yes.
I'm not so sure whether you address about climate change. El Nino is coming, and various kind of weather. So therefore, shortage of water or flood and whatnot, change of climate. So will it affect you?
Hemp actually needs less water than traditional rotational crops to grow, so that's not necessarily a concern. I don't know if El Nino hits upstate New York, to be honest. I'm sorry. I think our area is good.
We'll definitely look into that a little more, though.
Hi. Okay, just a short question for the hemp. How you control the quality of the hemp?
The quality?
The quality, yes. In case of the climate change and another weather change.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why right now we're trialing 3 different varieties, and next year we're going to trial different varieties as well. Because hemp, although the misnomer is it grows like weeds, it is still a little picky. And so we want to make sure that we are growing the best varieties for our location. In upstate New York, we are in the same latitude bands as southern Canada and France, which is great news because they've had very successful markets for decades at this point. So we know what works for them, and we can start there and move forward.
So the last...
Wait, the time is up. I'm sorry. Do you have a final question? A short one?
Yeah, that's the last question.
Okay.
So actually you try to scale up for the number of the farm, right? So, and how about the processing or the manufacturing location? Do you have the plan to scale up it as well?
You mean scale to other locations? Yes,
Yeah.
we do intend to, after our proof of concept with Facility 1 in upstate New York is proved, to hopefully open additional processing centers in other parts of the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Team Green
Thank you.
Acres. Well done. So please breathe out. You did it. Well done. For the next team that's coming up, it's Washwagon from Nanyang Business School in Singapore. Please make yourself ready. The judges, you have now around 5 minutes to submit your scores, go over it, and then in 5 minutes we will start the next presentation. I see the team is ready on the side. Breathe in, take some water, and be ready. One thing for the team that will present, when we started this, I told you that the time warnings will be on your sides on the big screens, which is not true because there is your presentation showing. The time warning, please be aware, will be on the screen next to you. So it's a bit on the side, but please take care of that and look out for it.
แนทเคยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมณชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท C-Wallet ค่ะ C-Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้างคอมเพทิทีฟสูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีศศิลป์แล้วก็มี SCGC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องC-Walletด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอัลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge at Sasin
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคม และนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ในศาสินเนี่ยนะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปี เพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
สติที่คุณมีอาจยังไม่พอ เพราะโจรอัปเดตกลโกงไปไกล เราก็ต้องอัปเดตสติให้ทัน
รับซื้อบัญชี มันจะเอาไปทำไม แต่ได้เงินตั้งเยอะ เอาก็ได้
อัปเดตสติ
ขายบัญชีให้คนอื่นเสี่ยงผิดกฎหมาย เกือบไปแล้วไม่ล่ะ
เฮ้ยนี่เงินภาษีคือแล้ววะ
ลิงก์มันดูแปลกๆนะโอ้ย
เฮ้ยไม่ได้ไม่ให้เฮ้ยแอปดูดเงินจริงด้วย เจอลิงก์แปลกอย่าคลิก
เฮ้ยน้องร้อนเงินอ่ะพี่ช่วยได้กู้ผ่านแน่นอน แต่ต้องมีค่าดำเนินการด้วยนะ
ในหน้าเถื่อนอย่าหลงเชื่อกู้กับแบงค์ได้เองได้เงินเต็มจำนวน
เถื่อนอะไรอ่ะรู้ได้ไง
รู้เพราะอัปเดตสติแล้ว
โจรอัปเดตทุกวันแค่ใช้สติอย่างเดียวไม่พอ ต้องอัปเดตกลโกงใหม่ๆด้วยนะ
เกือบติดคุกหัวโตแล้ว
อัปเดตสติป้องกันสตางค์
แนทเคยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมณชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท C-Wallet ค่ะ C-Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้างคอมเพทิทีฟสูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีศศิลป์แล้วก็มี SCGC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องซิวาเลตด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอัลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge อัสสิน
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคมและนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ในศาสินเนี่ยนะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปีเพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
สติที่คุณมีอาจยังไม่พอเพราะโจรอัปเดตกลโกงไปไกลเราก็ต้องอัปเดตสติให้ทัน
รับซื้อบัญชีมันจะเอาไปทำไมแต่ได้เงินตั้งเยอะเอาก็ได้
อัปเดตสติ
ขายบัญชีให้คนอื่นเสี่ยงผิดกฎหมายเกือบไปแล้วไหมล่ะ
เฮ้ยนี่เงินภาษีคือแล้ววะ
ลิงก์มันดูแปลกๆนะ
เฮ้ยไม่ได้ไม่ให้แอปดูดเงินจริงด้วยเจอลิงก์แปลกอย่าคลิก
เฮ้ยน้องร้อนเงินอ่ะพี่ช่วยได้กู้ผ่านแน่นอนแต่ต้องมีค่าดำเนินการด้วยนะ
ในหน้าเถื่อนอย่าหลงเชื่อกู้กับแบงค์ได้เองได้เงินเต็มจำนวน
มันเถื่อนอะไรอ่ะรู้ได้ไง
รู้เพราะอัปเดตสติแล้ว
โจรอัปเดตทุกวันแค่ใช้สติอย่างเดียวไม่พอต้องอัปเดตกลโกงใหม่ๆด้วยนะ
เกือบติดคุกหัวโตแล้ว
อัปเดตสติป้องกันสตางค์
Hello, hello. Welcome back and welcome to everyone who just came in between the rounds. Welcome to the sustainability round of this SCG Bangkok Business Challenge. The next team is already lined up. We had some slight difficulties with the presentation, but we made it. They are ready. I hope you guys are also ready to go. So, we start now with Wash Wagon from Nanyang Business School in Singapore. Are you ready? Yes, I see big smiles. I see them nodding. Okay, please come up to the stage. And I mean, you guys can clap. they come up to the stage. Yes, thank you. All right, Washwagon, just so you know, and remember, you have 25 minutes. After 5 minutes, the judges can ask you questions, and you will see the signs for that on your right on the screen. That is countdown. Ready to go? Yes? All right, we can start. Good luck.
Good day, everyone. I'm Apurva, and I'm the CEO of Washwagon, an innovative D2C business model that brings to you 5 cleaning household products in reusable bottles in a single vending machine. I was at a beach in Bali last year, and I saw a dead turtle with a plastic bottle cap of a detergent bottle stuck in its throat. While the problem may sound trivial, looking at the bigger picture made me realize that 100 million marine animals die from plastic waste alone. In Singapore, about 467 million plastic bottles are used every year, and that is equal to the size of 94 Olympic-sized swimming pools. I wonder, what legacy do we leave behind? A majority chunk of these bottles arise from household cleaning products, and upon some research, I found some weird facts about these products. They are low involvement, high choice products, heavy and bulky, you pay for water and waste, and you generate a lot of plastic waste in the long run. So the consumers end up being confused, low on cash, and they are unsustainable. So we bring to you Washwagon, a vending machine where you can bring your own bottle to get one product, one high application product in every use. We offer convenience, reduced cost, and 24/7 refill at the doorstep. The consumers can also scan the QR code embedded on a machine for more engagement with our machines. All our products have natural ingredients, they have no fillers, and we are in the process of getting green labels. So we have products from detergents to fabric softeners.
Understanding the market space, so we are targeting Southeast Asian market for the next 5 years. With a moderate to a high-end vending machine infrastructure, we have a good penetration rate, and with a high population density, we expect with a smaller market share, we can have a good revenue in the coming years. Best example, we have taken Singapore as a pilot market, mainly from supportive government initiatives. And at the same time, we also have, as per a survey by a major bank in Singapore, we have about 87% higher awareness level for average population in Singapore. So that's something we have considered as a pilot segment for Singapore. Trying to understand how we are trying to enter the market, we're going to promote by selling bottles which are mainly made up of aluminum, which will have QR codes that they can scan, and this is just to evoke the eco-consciousness among our customers. We're also going to talk about the partnerships, mainly with the Housing Development Board, the Government Housing the board, and the Ministry of Sustainability, mainly from regulatory approvals. We talk about our target population. So with sustainability, as we talk about, we're also going to evoke convenience for our target customer, which is mostly the working population residing in those government housing. At the same time, we are also providing a hassle-free experience for the aging population. So that's something we're going to target. With sustainability, we are also evoking price effectiveness. So we're going to disrupt the traditional, way of traditional cost, which you can see with the plastic bottles, and we can induce up to 50% of cost saving while we use Washwagon. As we saw with various competitors, that when you try to use sustainability, you increase cost. So that's something we want to save with Washwagon.
So let's understand what makes our product different. First of all, we plan to harness the data from our machines to cut down our own cost, as well as address the carbon footprints of our own operations. Similarly, we also plan to use the QR codes on our bottle to engage more consumers and engage loyalty. Now, as our business also aligns with Singapore government's green initiatives, the SG Green Plan. We support 2 of the 5 key pillars of the SG Green Plan, which is sustainable living and green economy, as we help the government work towards its goal of reducing the landfill waste by 30% by 2030. And as our business creates more jobs and opportunities, we also address the green economy. This makes us eligible for Singapore government's initiatives, the Enterprise Sustainability Program, and we'll seek funding from that area as well. And to understand the impact of our business, by year 5, we project to have saved over 18 million plastic bottles, which if you stack, to put this into context, if you stack them together vertically, this would roughly equal the distance between Earth and Moon 37 times. We'll also address the Sustainability Development Goals 12, 13, 14, and 15 through our entire value chain.
Thank you. So in order to enable our goal and to make this a reality in terms of operations, for consumers, we must make it as easy as possible to start using Washwagon so we can generate the maximum impact. And that's why all it takes is 4 very simple, intuitive steps to start using our products. Looking at the company, from a company's point of view, we've also embedded sustainability.
Sorry, can we stop a little with the bottle? Can you bring your own bottle in a random bottle you have at home, or do you have to buy the bottle from you?
So we do offer both options. So you have essentially 3 ways. You can reuse an existing bottle. This is especially to ease the adoption barrier. So let's say you don't want to invest into one of our high quality aluminum bottles right away. You can bring your own bottle. You can test it out once. But then we also offer the own bottles, which are of course higher quality. They are made of aluminum. They are infinitely reusable, very high quality. But we just want to make sure that the adoption is as easy as possible. Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, yeah, so going back to how from a company's perspective, we really, going back to from how a company's perspective, we incorporated sustainability in all of the operational steps. In terms of manufacturing, we will outsource manufacturing to a contract manufacturer. Our operations are focused on distribution, but that manufacturer
Okay, let's stop there. It's always interesting for me when you say you outsource your manufacturing, because how do you control the manufacturing? Produce in a sustainable way, have control about their weights, have control about their processes. So a little more in details how you will secure sustainability in that process.
Certainly. So if we look into the products, ingredients we use for our products, you can see that actually this is the exemplary formulation for the standard laundry detergent, and you can see that a vast majority, around 8 of the 11 ingredients, if you look in volume terms, it will be even higher, are from an organic source. These 3 ingredients we are currently not able to fully source organically, especially this is a denaturing agent that is used that children would not consume the detergent, so this is a regulatory issue. Those are non-organic, but the contract manufacturer manufactures according to our formulation, and where we put our emphasis on is making sure that the formulation we use is sustainable.
I'm a production guy myself, and mostly they don't like you bring in the material and because then they actually lose the profit on that. And then you often see that they basically buy something on the back door and say, oh, we use your material, but what? So again, back to my question I started with, how do you secure that your manufacturing produced in a sustainable way and according to the specification you have set up?
So when we evaluate different manufacturers, we made the conscious decision to go with United Detergent Industries, which is a manufacturer based in Malaysia, and we selected them based on the reputation. So United Detergent Industries is manufacturing for a lot of the big players. If you go to a Singaporean or Malaysian supermarket, you will see a lot of brands actually coming from them. So they're in that sense quite advanced in terms of their capabilities. They also have locally obtained some certifications. There is a genuine commitment to environmental use. They focus on using...
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. Most of your supplier are big company, right?
United Detergent is a big company in terms of revenue, but it's a contract manufacturer, so they are not themselves
Is it possible to use like a commodity, manufacturing that can meet your specification instead of using the big company on that?
So they are in a sense a commodity manufacturer. Like they do not have their own brands. What they do is they take orders from they manufacture for other brands. So in that sense, it's a quite like for them it's a quite manufacturing heavy business model. They are focused on the expertise in manufacturing. We bring our formulations and they do that. And that being said, so as we own the brand, like we would be able to choose other manufacturers, but based on what we looked into, which is quality, reputation, and then also, which is quite important as we have quite ambitious growth prospects, the ability to scale. United Detergent Industries came out top in our assessment. All right, then moving
Sorry,
on.
can we stop here? So actually, how could you manage for the consumer perspective? I mean, so if you set up like a refill machine, right? Most of the consumer already use this brand, and this brand. But for my understanding, you would like to refill the brand that you manufacturing by yourself. How you mitigate this one or educate for the user in this?
With our brand, the major idea is we're going to evoke that eco-consciousness in our consumers. So that's how we're going to brand. So when we talk about QR codes, let's say we are giving those bottles with QR codes. So we're going to put those visuals, like for example, as a consumer, I go to a vending machine, I scan, it shows me, how many bottles I have saved with one refill. So that kind of we're trying to build that awareness level, although it's very high in Singapore, but we are also trying to, this is mainly for our customer retention strategy. And, consumer would want to scan our QR code, and that's how we're going to build, so.
And what kind of the benefit to the consumer side? So currently, okay, in terms of the sustainability and environmental responsibility, it's yes. But in other perspective, or what kind of the benefit that you can make for the consumer to influence them to refill it and to use this?
Sure. So one other aspect we have discussed about is convenience. So for example, for working population, we are providing a 24/7 solution. So they can come in any time to a vending machine and get the liquid detergent dispensed. At the same time, we are also, for let's say aging population in Singapore, you find those heavy bottles that you have to carry all the way. So we are also targeting, that it's like a hassle-free experience for them. And of course, price effectiveness, like you mentioned, that is something. It's an in-go with a model.
Can you get back to the picture of the machine, your machine? What is that outlet? Laundry and what? Dishwasher and what?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is a prototype of our vending machine. So we have multiple refill nozzles here. And if you bring your bottle, you can have, you can just bring in your bottle and get a refill. To take you through our product line, we have a detergent, dishwash, floor cleaner, soap, and fabric softener, all that are dispensed from a single vending machine. So you will have different nozzles and different tanks for these products, but all of them will be under one vending machine. Yeah.
Everyone has one option, right?
That's right.
They don't mix.
No. You cannot mix because these are all different type of products. Like one you put on the face, one on the floor.
In that case, the consumer just have only one choice, right, for each other.
I mean, they can take different products. Like if you put in, if you want 3 products out of 5 products, they can take as many. But from one nozzle, you will only get 1 product.
So let's stick a little with that, because now I'm the guy or the girl in the house who buy in. So I have to go to the grocery store, to the supermarket, and buy a lot of stuff. And if I have to follow your plan, I decide to go to the grocery market. I also have to go to the machine. So what is it, the benefit for me? And I waste time. I waste maybe driving time. I make pollution when I drive in a car to drive to a car. So basically what you are offering here is a system where the ordinary people waste time and maybe make more pollution in the world.
So two factors to keep in mind specifically for the Singaporean market. First of all, 80% of the population live in so-called HDBs, which is essentially government housing, and those are high-rise, high-density buildings. And our plan is to place these machines on the HDB precinct, so within the area that is owned by the government and managed by the governments. And we did our calculations, and with one machine, we can reach 1,500 households within a 3-minute walk. So it is really, this is the next to your doorstep promise. So consumers won't be generating additional emissions by going there. Then the second thing is that in Singapore, the car ownership rate is very low. You have to pay an excise tax of around 120,000 just to buy a car. So people don't really own cars, and then carrying like a up to 5 kilogram heavy bottle of detergent from a supermarket to your home is just a big hassle if you are using walking or public transport. So there we see quite a convenience proposition, and as mentioned, a 3-minute walk is something consumers are willing to consider if they can get a high quality detergent.
Noted. It's working in Singapore, maybe not in the rest of the world. Thank you.
We did the comparison. So in the United States, you have 24 people per square kilometer on average. In Singapore, you have 1,800. So of course, it is for certain geography. But then if you look at other cities here in Asia, you have a lot of these high-density metropolis. You can think about Jakarta, about Kuala Lumpur, where this model is also very applicable. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on.
So just one question. Have you ever measured for the energy consumption per each vendor machine?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we are using vending machines from Pukui, which is one of the leading manufacturers. And when they are idle, so when they are in standby, they actually consume around 9 watt per 9 watt consumption, which is very low. When they are dispensing, this goes up to around 30 watt for operating the pumps, which is also pretty low. So comparing to other vending machines, these are actually very efficient. Like your typical food vending machine has cooling elements in it, and that is way more energy heavy than our distribution model. Yeah. Moving on from there, I will pass it on to Jessie to take you through the financials.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jessie. I will take you a look at the economic of our one vending machine. So from the year 5 and so on, after our business going on a stable stage, we assume and we calculate that for each vending machine, we can serve around 560 users per month. That's to say, each day there will be around 20 users come to use our vending machine. According to our assumption, each user will spend around $3.4 monthly, and for each vending machine, it will be 2K revenue monthly. And consider about the cost of sales goods, consider about other expenditures, the one vending machine will finally produce 6K EBITDA annually. And that's to say, with 500 vending machines in year 5, we can produce 11 million cash revenue, 3 million EBITDA with 26% EBITDA margin. We would like to offer you a cash cow business.
Thank you very much. We are basically not interested to hear anything about your business. We are interested in hear about sustainability. So can we go talk a little bit, 7 minutes left, can we talk a little bit about the sustainability goal or what you support there?
Yeah, sure. Can you go to the sustainability impact, please? Pranjal? So for sustainability, I would want to bring your attention to some numbers. So in the beginning, we mentioned about 467 million plastic bottles are wasted in or used in Singapore. And Singapore is doing its bit in recycling these bottles, but only 6% has been recycled in the year 2020. And this has dropped tremendously from 11% in 2013. The rest of the bottles are in the environment as litter, or they are being incinerated to make their own island. But that island is supposed to be filled by 2035. So that is a huge problem that we are addressing in terms of sustainability. We are targeting the reduce, reuse and recycle model in Singapore, and we are aligning with their SG Green Plan. Can you bring the focus back to Green Plan? So if you look at it, Singapore government has 5 key pillars in their SG Green Plan, and they have 2030 targets because they want to go green and go net zero by 2030. And we are addressing 2 main key pillars of the Green Plan, the sustainability living and the green economy. So when you look at sustainable living, we are trying to reduce the amount of plastic waste that goes in the landfill by 30%, because if the Singapore's only landfill gets filled by 2035, there's no way they can reduce or dispose the plastic anywhere else. And we are also focusing on the green economy. When we have a vending machine, we are doing our bit for the environment, and we are also creating more jobs and opportunities. And we also had some word with the Singapore government. Our mentors are from the Singapore government. So they helped us with traction and whether or not this will work in the Singapore market or not. So the Singapore market is a big market right now. Yeah.
I would like to ask you, why don't you go to P&G? They might want to collaborate with you. And they might be able to be your main competitors in the very near future. So what do you think about that?
So what we are seeing is currently in Singapore, nobody is using these machines. So we currently have a first mover advantage. We are going to go into the market aggressively, deploy our machines, and then from year 2 onwards, we will really work on our differentiation. And here we have 3 main things. The first thing is an impact tracker. Your bottle, if you get one of ours, has a QR code embedded. Whenever you scan it, you see on the screen, by now you have saved 53 plastic bottles. And if you have saved 53, you want to make it 55, you want to make it 100.
You think it matters to the people who have a daily salary, whatever, how many plastic? We talk everybody about sustainability, but you really think it matters for the person who are down and take the liquids? As I see it, your supply chain is more expensive than a supply chain of a big supermarket because they can collect a lot of goods together and transport it together. It's correct that you have a good impact on reducing bottles, for sure. But in total, have you made that comparison and said how much plastic do I save in bottles compared to how much extra transport cost, human being cost, etc.? That could be interesting to see.
Yes, so we did our cost comparison and also, of course, the impact comparison. In terms of logistics, we are quite efficient, minimizing our carbon footprint there by sourcing it from in the first stage from a contract manufacturer in Malaysia. It's
this is not correct, because whatever you source it from another one, then they have it. We talk about the total supply chain from start to end, not just who do what.
Yeah. The point I wanted to get into is it is the closest contract manufacturer which has a large capacity to Singapore. Within Singapore, there's no manufacturing taking place. So we have a fairly efficient thing here. Then if you look at how laundry detergents get sold in supermarkets, they typically, because they are quite bulky, you have one cardboard carton in which they put 4 of these 3-liter bottles. And they are shaped very ergonomically, so you end up shipping a lot of empty things in a truck. We are getting them in 25-liter canisters, which are coming directly from Malaysia. You can really nicely palletize them. They are going to one centralized warehouse within Singapore, and from there we dispense in the region. And in terms of our logistics, we have the efficiency there by ensuring that every machine reports the filling levels, the live filling levels of the different tanks, and our algorithm then calculates which of the machines are going to be called, so which of the machines are in need of a refill. Compared to traditional vending businesses, they typically have, every Monday they have a truck going around a certain area and refilling the machines along the way, no matter how empty they are. So we are really minimizing the emissions there, and then this also trickles down to the costs.
Can you design the smarter machine? Because you said the machine is near the habitat, that very condensed, right? And if you know who do this recycle and the one who didn't do it, so you have a lot of data about all supply chain, and you can help the Singapore government to promote, a kind of sustainability behavior to the the people. So machine is, I think, is more than a machine that refill. It's a kind of promoting the new, behavior for sustainability, but it can design in that smart machine. So you can put another feature on that one and link the feature of the government intelligence into that. And it can help solve a lot of problems in Singapore.
That's an area we are in ongoing talks with the Ministry of Sustainability, and we are exploring what are the areas of collaboration. So first thing going into that direction is the impact tracker, that you can really see the impact you're making. And as mentioned, 87% of Singaporeans have awareness for this topic, and therefore we see quite a synergy there. We increasing our retention and also increasing further awareness for this topic here.
Yeah. So just a short thing in terms of your product. So currently your product, most of your product is in the liquid phase, right? So that means when you fill in the machine, it have the limited capacity for the machine itself. If we look at the machine, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 product in the same machine. That means the limited of the packaging in your machine quite be small for each product. So in terms of the logistics, that means you have to refill your product. I'm not sure how often for that one. So the carbon footprint gonna be generated from the logistics. It's the recommendation. Have you ever think about the product itself? So it should not be the liquid phase. It should be the solid phase, like the solid state, right? So when you would like to refill it, you just mix it to reduce the logistic cost, the carbon footprint, and other things, and also the energy consumption, something like that might be benefit for your plan to scale up and the logistic planning as well.
Sure, I can take it. Can you go to the blue line slide? So yeah, we actually did some research on companies doing similar models, and there's one company in the US that has a capsule that you can just put in the bottle and you mix it and you get a product. But something that we realize here is that there's an additional step involved. So you need to add water, shake it, mix it, and then you get your product instead of the final product that we offer you. So that goes to the convenience part. The next one is the market segment. So this is eco-conscious consumers. They only target the eco-conscious consumers, while we are trying to target the entirety of the HDB, so that even if the people are not eco-conscious, we from our product make them aware of eco-consciousness and we generate it among the users. We also noted the price differences with certain models. So because the market is very niche, they are priced at a higher price, but we offer at a very low cost so that people can afford it and they can become sustainable in the long term. In terms of tanks, we have a route optimization algorithms and generate how much product do we require, and we can predict it in advance. So that saves the carbon footprints because we know what exactly we need to fill and in which tank. So we don't fill it every day or every week, we only fill it when it is required.
Thank you for your answer. We are very much over time, so this was the last question. I'm sorry for that. Give them an applause. They're done. They did it. Thank you so much. So up next is Team Moonbeam. Are they already here? Yes. Oh yeah, it's only you. There's one person. The second person arrived. That's good. I feel like I might be the target audience for like all these presentations. I see myself walking in my hemp shirt to watch a wash wagon thing to buy my laundry detergent, maybe snacking on some crunchy granola that you're gonna talk about. It's awesome. So I'm looking at the judges. Have you submitted your scores, or do you need some more time? I see a yes for you submitted. Okay, great. Then we're just gonna. We need a little bit more time. A little bit more time. Okay, so we're gonna give them a little bit more time. But Moonbeam, please make sure you stay here. You're ready to go. They're gonna set up, and then we're gonna start in a couple of minutes.
ยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมราชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท C Wallet ค่ะ C Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้าง competitive สูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีศศิลป์แล้วก็มี SCGC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องซิวาเลตด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอัลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge at Sasin
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคมและนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ในสัสินเนี่ยนะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปีเพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
All right. We're back. I heard that there is a present for the judges. Moonbeam got something for you. So, go on, please walk off. I think it might be something crunchy. I thought you might be snacking on it during the presentation, but maybe the judges will now. So please, if you're ready, come up on stage. And I mean, if you're ready for the future of food, which I guess you are. So, are you cool? Are you ready to go? Yes? So please remember, on your side, there is a time marker. So after 5 minutes, the judges can ask you questions. And then at the end, at 3 minutes, 1 minute, and when it's done, we have a beautiful red screen there. Please try to pay attention, the judges as well. And now, let's go. The time can start running.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jiawei. I'm from the Moonbeam Company. Imagine a world where food waste becomes a source of nourishment. And that's our vision here at Moonbeam, where we are illuminating the future of food with circularity. So what we do is we create moon grains, a revolutionary ingredient packed with protein and fiber, crispy and crunchy, that can be substituted into any food product that it contains grains or flours. And in doing so, what we want to do is we want to benefit as many stakeholders as possible. For instance, for brewers, they have increased revenue. For consumers, they have better nutrition. And for manufacturers and food producers, they now have a new ingredient that they can use for nutritional claims and eco-labels. So actually, our solution stems from how wasteful food production can be. So let's take a look at the malted beverage industry. Well, I'm thinking about Milo, Chang beer, Singha, and even Johnny Walker. They all start in the same way. Malted barley is steeped in hot water to extract the sugars and starches. And what's left is actually an enormous amount of spent grains, 38 million tons to be exact. And these are usually fed to animals or incinerated. And that's because they are very hard to deal with and easy to forget. out of sight, out of mind, right? Well, what if I were to tell you that actually all these malt production companies are leaving billions of dollars on the table? Yes, that's because they're not fully extracting all the resources inside the spent grains. And yes, they are very difficult to handle. So what we do at the Moonbeam Company is that we make these nutrients accessible by making the grains palatable and versatile as an ingredient. Now, our proprietary process converts these fibrous spent grains into a high-value, crispy, crunchy, and bakeable moon grains with all the protein and fiber inside. And in doing so, we actually multiply the value of these spent grains by 333 times, from $45 a ton to an ingredient that costs $15,000 a ton. So I've provided some granola for you, and this granola is made using these moon grains. And I'm sure, just like all the hundreds of people that have tried it before you, you're going to love it. So I invite you to open it and give it a taste for yourself. So actually, just by substituting half of the oats with our moon grains, what we have done is we've been able to provide a 20 to 50% increase in the fiber and protein content as compared to any other granola brand on the market, while doing it sustainably. And of course, we're not just going to stop at cereal or breakfast cereal. If we are able to substitute moon grains into any food product, you can fortify its nutrient while reducing food waste. And yes, there is a steamed fish you see over here, but it's actually topped with some crispy garlic chips and of course some crunchy moon grains. So with an ingredient as versatile as moon grains, once we have captured the Singapore and global breakfast cereal market, which is sized at 80 million and 74 billion, we're going to move on to adjacent food products. You can think of breads, noodles, cookies, anything really. So yeah, the imagination is up to you.
So how we are entering the market is quite unorthodox, and it is through the granola that we have shared with you. So we'll be working with Mary, who has been tasked to look for or to organize events, and are looking for sustainable events and products to achieve her company's KPI. So we'll be providing her and working with her and partnering with her to provide sustainable events using our highly nutritious and highly sustainable moon grains. So this will then be picked up by Charlie, chefs who are looking for sustainable products or sustainable ingredients for their products. And through the workshops and the different stuff that we've been doing, they'll be convinced by how easily it is to add additional protein and fiber into their products without any loss in nutrients. So this will prompt them to uptake moon grains and even come forward and approach us to co-create something together. So, and through this collaboration, this will generate unprecedented visibility and publicity for us, and this synergy is precisely why they are our key segment, simply because they generate revenue, visibility, and traction for us. So this visibility will be further amplified through our social media and the workshops and exhibitions that we hold that evangelizes our products. So through such events and exhibitions, this will be picked up by Celine, green consumers who are conscious of the product, who will be supporting our product because of the cost that they are supporting. So this forms the base of our business model, where we serve B2B to Mary and Charlie, and B2C to Celine.
Kong, you're muted.
So now we're going to talk more about the operations. So Singapore is the perfect test bed because of like how it is strict, as well as it's able to invite like confidence, and logistically simple as well because of the small place. And once we are able to find our process here, we are looking to actually scale out in Thailand. Next slide, please. Which is by tapping onto its strength as the kitchen of the world. And this will actually help to lower cost of production tremendously. And we are looking forward to work with major breweries to bring the spent grains to make them into moon grains and supply them to manufacturers, restaurants, and bakeries like locally as well as internationally. So yeah, next slide. So really what we are going to do here is, first step is how we are going to reduce what our overarching aim is really to reduce the carbon emissions, the raw materials that we are using, as well as reducing food waste that are incurred in the process. So this, next slide. in this case, will contribute to SDG 12, but in the midst of doing that, we also reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. So in this case, we have even plans to use renewable energy to achieve SDG 13. And social sustainability is also very important to us, and this is achieved through stakeholder engagement. So this is such as working with stakeholders to ensure that they benefit from the circular economy through increased revenue and more nutritious food, and through our internal operations, we'll engage local households for employment. So all of this doesn't have to compromise financial sustainability. So far, we have already generated over $6,000 of revenue in the past 3 months and upcycled over 260 kilograms of spent grains and diverted over 1 ton of CO2 equivalent. And we are one of the 3 brands chosen by Muji to retail. So this is the team that's making this dream a reality. I'm a scientist turned marketer who experienced in the food tech. So I will be looking for market gaps as well as food techniques and marketing tactics to fill them. Jia Wei is the CPO. So he's an engineer in training, but he's also a foodie at heart. So he has deep experiences in the F&B as well as culinary experience to know how to craft flavors and products that consumers like. And then he's our CFO and COO. And being a data scientist and youth leader at AVPN, he develops the business model to ensure that we are financially sustainable on top of being socially and environmentally friendly. So our commitment to our cause has been recognized locally as well as internationally through the wins of the DBSX NEA Hungry for Change challenge, as well as the Textile for Social Good challenge, which is a global competition for startups.
Sorry, can we stop here?
Yes.
Who will benefit from this? The brewery or the farmers?
So in this case, the breweries will be mainly benefiting from this because in terms of the, I would say, economic part, because we will be buying the spent grains from the breweries. So let's...
But actually, this is not the food waste that doing to landfill or something. It used to be a food for chicken or something, right? And you want to upgrade or add more value to that to be human food, right? So it's not.
Maybe I can explain
it's not solve the
context.
food waste.
Yeah. So maybe we can explain the context. Maybe we can move on to all the way to the end to explain why this is a food waste problem. So specifically to Singapore. Oh, this is the wrong slide. Anyway, specifically to Singapore, actually, one of the key challenge is actually how food waste, 81% of it actually gets diverted into incineration. So it is food waste in Singapore, but in the context of even in Thailand, only 2% of the food waste actually gets recycled. So we are unsure what's the proportion of spent grains that actually get diverted. But more importantly, this means that there are actually a lot of loss even within the spent grains ecosystem. And yes, they are primarily preferred to be donated into animal feeds. But one thing that is also potentially can be used is to feed humans directly so that it can reduce nutrient loss in the process. Hope that clarifies.
There was a slide where you mentioned something about less transport. Can you elaborate a little bit about that? Because I basically see more transport and not less.
All right, so maybe you can jump on to the operational slide and I can go through with you even like what's the processing in terms of like the energy per kg. So from here, you can see this. This is a very typical way of operations. So in terms of transportation, one thing that is different compared to going to the incinerators will be, in this case, going to incinerators straight. But in the context of Singapore, they will actually go overseas instead as animal feed. So one of the greatest emissions from this process is actually the transportation in that case. So we ourselves have already done a bit of I would say calculations because we do measure the emissions profile that we have, and per kg, the transportation now is still 1.43 kilowatts hours per kg in terms of the energy used, which is relatively, I would say, competitive on the transportation side. So this is achieved because how localized the processing facility are compared to the brewery compared to in the past where, the farms may not be as near. So that's one thing that we want to navigate. And in the context of Singapore, the incinerators are not necessarily in the heartlands as well. And this is what we want to achieve. How do we actually maximize every, emissions that is not produced in the process? So if not, maybe I can continue telling you more about what's our approach in terms of sustainability. So really what we want to do is to actually catalyze partnerships between corporates and government. So in Singapore, we work with the National Environmental Agency, which advises us on terms of this kind of matters, as well as the Singapore Food Agency, which actually license facilities and advise us in terms of the food safety aspect to ensure that we are delivering high quality products. So we also work with breweries directly in Singapore. In this case, they are all microbreweries like Sunbird, Level 33, and Brewworks. And we ensure that we get community help as well through institution and community partners. So this includes institutions like NUS, that's where we're from, the DBS Foundation, which has invested interest, as well as City Sprouts, which is one of the community builder here in Singapore. And through this kind of partnerships, what we want to really do is integrating, aligning interests and integrating what kind of support we can rally to each other to actually further sustainable causes. So in this case, this is something that we do actually foresee how it could actually potentially happen in Thailand as well. How do we actually engage with other stakeholders, with the same analogous ones, and even like local companies that are having the same, I would say, objectives, and how do we also even help people that are not as, I would say, receptive to sustainability to work with us through the alternative angles that we provide, which is through health as well as through how they can actually potentially have a new source of revenue from here. At this point, do you have any questions?
I think you can go ahead.
All right, I will then continue on. So one of the key things of what we do is actually measuring the extent of our impact. So we have actually analyzed how we have processed and dried and transported the data. So from the 260 kilograms of spent grains that we have collected, one thing to note is that we have actually measured what's the energy consumed, which is currently estimated to be 7.48 kilowatts hours per kg. So this is actually still, because one of the main criticism or rather key comments that we have gotten is like, do we actually measure that? And actually, yes, we do. So this is the number from in-house measurements of all the different steps that we've incurred. So we have also analyzed what is the CO2 equivalent by pegging it to an emission factor. In this case, this is 0.4057 in Singapore because we use natural gases. So this actually amounts that to around 3 kilograms of CO2 produced for every kg of spent grains that's processed. And this is rather, I would say, compelling because we haven't even scaled up in terms of the scale, in terms of the equipment, in terms of like the contracts. But this is really close to the current estimate of, I would say, food waste to emissions, which is estimated to be 2.5 kilograms per kilograms of food. So however, one of the key gaps for us to understand, which we are waiting for more data, is what exactly is the full life cycle of spent grains. But this is something that to us is also inspiring because how we can actually make use of scale, in this case, drive this 3 kg down.
Actually, when we talk about food, can you tell me more about nutrition that is better than other food? And what is your target for this food?
So spent grains is comprising of 70% fiber and 30% proteins. So the most usual comparison is to oats, which is, and it has 10 times more fiber than oats and 1.5 times more protein than oats. So really what we can actually feed.
And what is your competition about the type of food? Do you want to replace some food in the school or in community or what? Or food for the elderly people? What kind of people that benefit from the new kind of food?
Okay, I think I can take this question. Can you go to slide 10? Nine. Yep. So I guess our main product is really moon grains, which are the processed spent grains that we collect from the brewers itself. So the moon grains has a texture that's very close to oat product, but it's much more nutritious in terms of the fiber and protein content, as Kong has mentioned, about 10 times more fiber and 1.5 times more protein than oats itself. So just based on the various characteristics, I guess the most straightforward product that we are looking to substitute is really oat-based, cereal-based product, and the one that we landed first is the granola that we have presented to you. So that is really a proof of concept and a proof of value of the value of what Moon Grains can really deliver. So subsequently, we'll be looking into many other use cases, not just granolas, not just breakfast cereals, but also bread, noodles, snacks, and confectionery. So I guess where this idea came from was really when we were walking around and seeing how bakeries and producers are actually using oats or even different kinds of spent ingredients in their products itself. And that was how we derived the whole potential market that we could potentially penetrate.
Does it mean the people who consume oat can replace with this and can save the world with carbon footprint, food waste? Or is that what your idea is?
That is the dream that we are building towards.
Just to be sure we all don't misunderstand you, can you just one time more tell me why you say that giving the chicken the what to call that, the spent grain for the brewery compared to what you do for food waste? As I seriously don't understand it.
Okay, we'll try to explain to the best of our ability. So I think we are dealing with multiple contexts here. So one, I would say it's a local context back in Singapore, and the one it's more regional or global in Thailand, in Vietnam, and other places. And Singapore is a very unique place by itself, actually, because there's a very small agriculture sector there, where very few of these spent grains are actually pushed into the farms. And in fact, they are not even used in the farms in Singapore itself. So most of these spent grains are actually incinerated and burnt. And so on that front, it's very straightforward on how, when we rescue the spent grains, it just diverts them away from incineration plants and landfills. But when we come into countries that are dealing with more agriculture, that is where there are potential use cases for spent grains in animal feeds. So from our baseline research, we found that most of these, not most of these, but there are a portion of these spent grains are actually not utilized in animal feeds and pig feeds itself, because the spent grains can only substitute, if I'm wrong, about 20% of the entire feed to provide the right nutrients. So the excess are typically still being passed into landfills, and yes, and that is, I think that is that proportion that we are trying to tackle there, more than competing with them.
And I try to think whether this will help the growers or not. So once again, will they get more from this business? Will they get a higher pay, or in which way will they benefit? The community will benefit from this.
So the solutions will not benefit the farmers directly, but rather the households that are actually situated in breweries themselves. So I think how regionally, how breweries are structured are quite different. They are very far away from the city centers, typically further out in the industrial area where it's being sectored by the government for food production and other manufacturing license, other manufacturing stuff. So where we will really benefit people is really by tapping onto the communities there, people who are already aggregated there, to provide them with livelihood and additional source of income. A greater source of income because of the greater value that we will be able to deliver them. Because most of the manufacturing will be actually placed there, working directly with breweries because of how difficult, how short the time spent it is to rescue the spent grains before they degrade. So the manufacturing plant currently in Singapore is really directly right beside the breweries to push indirectly there. So in terms of economic growth and all, the livelihood of the people will be supported.
questions from the judges? No. Do you have more to tell us? Because you could continue with your presentation. You have 4 minutes left.
Tell me more about the dream.
You have another set of slides. Oh.
No, not a slide. Tell me about your dream. To save the world by this product.
I guess I can go with, the bigger dream that we really have. And it's really to greenify the supply chain that we have in the world. Not to completely replace oat, but to provide an alternative ingredient that is equally sustainable, more sustainable, and equally on equal product quality compared to some of the commodities that is out there. And I think that is a huge leap that we have to take, because that requires us to change people's perception on food waste or food loss or even byproducts itself. And we are hoping to take that first step to slowly change people's mind on how food waste, or how they can actually, how the stigma that they have in food waste, and it's really not as bad as what they think. So I think, yes, it's a two-part process that we are hoping to change, and that I would say is the main dream that we have.
It seems like you tell the Singapore people that your behavior of eating can change the world, right?
Rather, I think it starts with first step, where we don't just tell people that consuming such products can change the world, but such products are actually of good quality, and they actually taste good and are comparable, or at least are even better than existing products out there that are made using other form of non-food waste product. So I think that is the key perception that we are trying to tackle first, and slowly as they get acceptance and get more mainstream, that is where I think we can build more and push more of such product into the market itself. Yes.
Just one question from my end. How could you communicate to the consumer side on this product? If you define this one, it make from the waste food, and we're gonna eat the waste food, how could you manage this perspective and communicate to the consumer who gonna buy this product?
Okay, so I'll say the consumer base is huge, and there is a specific, there is a small segment of people who are willing to try. And honestly, that was how we started about a year or two ago, where people are more hesitant to try the product itself. But luckily, because we are produced in Singapore, that gives people the confidence that the food that we produce is of quality and is well within the guidelines that has been set. So that is the first step for them to really try. And when we are out in exhibitions and all, we tested different pitches. One by just telling them it's food made from upcycled waste and all. So I would say in Singapore there isn't specifically among the youth, there isn't a strong resistance to trying such products. And when we were trying the nutrients angle to it, where it's high in protein, high in fiber, I would say it works much better. And when we told them it's made from food waste, that I think there was a look of surprise on their face, where they couldn't quite comprehend how such a product could be made. And I think that provided us some joy, and hopefully that encouraged a change in mindset, specifically, and that is, I guess, validated when they actually put down the money to purchase the product from us itself. So hope to continue to do that, and to spread greater words on how such products can actually be comparable to all other food in the world.
And we have to end this presentation on that note. So give them a warm applause. Thank you very much. You can come off stage now. Breathe, have a coffee, relax. It's done for this round. I'm looking out at the audience. Is Reborn Plus already here? Yes, okay, perfect. Come here, come here. So, up next is Reborn Plus. I'm looking at the judges. Do we need a minute? Do we need 5 minutes? Yes? Okay, so we are gonna have a very, very short break. And then the next one can continue in 5 minutes.
แนทเคยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมณชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท Wallet ค่ะ Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้างคอมเพทิทีฟสูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีSasinแล้วก็มี SCGC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องซิวาเลตด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอัลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge at Sasin
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคมและนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ในSasinนะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปีเพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
สติที่คุณมีอาจยังไม่พอ เพราะโจรอัปเดตกลโกงไปไกลเราก็ต้องอัปเดตสติให้ทัน
รับซื้อบัญชี มันจะเอาไปทำไม แต่ได้เงินตั้งเยอะ เอาก็ได้
อัปเดตสติ
ขายบัญชีให้คนอื่นเสี่ยงผิดกฎหมาย เกือบไปแล้วไหมล่ะ
เฮ้ยนี่เงินภาษีคือแล้ววะ
ลิงก์มันดูแปลกๆนะโอ้ย
เฮ้ยไม่ได้ไม่ให้เฮ้ยแอปดูดเงินจริงด้วยเจอลิงก์แปลกอย่าคลิก
เฮ้ยน้องร้อนเงินอ่ะพี่ช่วยได้กู้ผ่านแน่นอนแต่ต้องมีค่าดำเนินการด้วยนะ
ในหน้าเถื่อนอย่าหลงเชื่อกู้กับแบงค์ได้เองได้เงินเต็มจำนวน
มันเถื่อนอะไรอ่ะรู้ได้ไง
รู้เพราะอัปเดตสติแล้ว
โจรอัปเดตทุกวันแค่ใช้สติอย่างเดียวไม่พอต้องอัปเดตกลโกงใหม่ๆด้วยนะ
เกือบติดคุกหัวโตแล้ว
อัปเดตสติป้องกันสตางค์
นัทเคยได้ยินคำหนึ่งนะคะที่บอกว่า startup is a marriage สู้ไปด้วยกันนะคะมีปัญหาก็แก้ไขไปด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็ไม่ย่อท้อเชื่อถือในกันและกันแล้วเราก็จะฝ่าฟันมันไปได้เรื่องของไอเดียด้วยนะ product market fit product ของเราเนี่ยแม้ว่าเป็น product ที่ดีส่วนที่สำคัญเนี่ยคือการที่เราจะ scale มันไปได้ไหมนัชชาเลิศหัตถศิลป์ค่ะเป็น CEO ของบริษัท C Wallet ค่ะ C Wallet นะคะเราเป็นระบบบัญชีคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์สำหรับองค์กรนะคะช่วยให้องค์กรเนี่ยสามารถที่จะประเมินคาร์บอนฟุตพริ้นท์ได้ง่ายนะคะแล้วก็ดีคาร์บอนไนซ์ตัวธุรกิจของตัวเองได้นะคะผ่านทางออนไลน์แพลตฟอร์มของเราตื่นเต้นมากเพราะว่าเป็นเวทีที่ค่อนข้างคอมเพทิทีฟสูงฟีดแบ็กต่างๆพวกนั้นเนี่ยมันทำให้เราสามารถที่จะนำข้อบกพร่องต่างๆมาพัฒนาเพื่อแก้ไขเป็นเกียรติมากๆที่ได้ชนะเวทีนี้โดยเฉพาะเป็นเวทีที่มีSasinแล้วก็มี SCTC นะคะที่เป็นสปอนเซอร์ให้แล้วก็ความสำเร็จครั้งนี้มันเป็นเหมือนสิ่งที่มาพิสูจน์ได้แล้วว่าธุรกิจเราเนี่ยมันไม่ใช่แค่ฝันแหละ
ยินดีกับน้องซิวาเลตด้วยนะครับอยากเห็นน้องๆในปีหน้ากลับมาในฐานะอัลัมไนของ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge at Sasin
ขอแสดงความยินดีกับผู้ชนะ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge ปี 2023 ด้วยนะครับขอให้ได้นำธุรกิจนี้ไปสู่เป้าหมายที่ตัวเองต้องการ
ก็ขอแสดงความยินดีกับพวกคุณทุกคนนะครับเราทุกคนเป็นผู้ชนะนะครับเราทุกคนได้เรียนรู้อะไรบางอย่างกลับไปแล้วก็ได้มิตรภาพในหมู่สตาร์ทอัพด้วยกันขอแสดงความยินดีด้วยนะครับ
So I'd like to congratulate the winner of the Thailand competition. I know you've worked very, very hard to get here, and this is just the start. So to get your venture really launched and growing, to nurture that seed of success will take even more work and even more effort, but it will be worth it in the end.
SCGC เนี่ยเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์กับเรามาหลายปีมากนะครับช่วยขับเคลื่อน innovation สามารถที่จะ induce ผ่านมหาวิทยาลัยสังคมและนำเสนอผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น innovation ออกมาอย่างต่อเนื่อง
SCGC เราก็รู้สึกยินดีมากที่เราได้มาสนับสนุนโครงการ SCG Bangkok Business Challenge และSasinเนี่ยนะครับเป็นเวลานานกว่า 8 ปีเพื่อให้เราสามารถนำสตาร์ทอัพไทยนะครับไปสู่สเกลที่มัน Impact นะครับ Think big small step to start นะครับ
Are we ready? It is the last presentation of the sustainability round. Last but not least, let's say that. I have Megan waiting here from Reborn Plus from the Georgia Institute of Technology in the USA. And she's ready to go. She's ready to change the world of plastic recycling, take the color out, but put the color on stage because she is ready. Okay, let's go. On stage, not on the side.
Thank you very much. And I'm not going to cook anyone any meal today, but this is the example of plastic problem right now. They print the label with color, this color impurity. This is what I'm going to talk about. So let's talk first with the world problem that we encountering right now. By 2050, about 12 billion tons of plastic gonna leave landfill. And let's zoom in to what happened to the plastic waste that we have nowadays. About 37.3% going to incinerator, which is so sad because it produces a lot of pollutions, greenhouse gas as a product. It emits every day. 30% go to landfill, which left a lot of microplastic problem. Aquatic life can mistaking that as a food into their body, and we end up eating the microplastic in our body. The third portions of the plastic in the world now is going to recycle eventually, right? 25.7% going to recycle, but it's not as you think. Recycling nowadays, it can recycle just only 1 or 2 times. Why 1 to 2 times and it's not the endless process that forever recycling every time? Because of this problem, the color impurity, we lost over $2 billion USD per year because of the color impurity in the plastic waste. And that impedes the value of the recycled plastic up to 50%. Reborn Plus offering you this new technology. We see this huge difference in price of the recycled plastic between mixed color. As you can see from the picture here, is the mixed color that we got from the traditional mechanical recycling processes. Compared to the Reborn Plus technology that we plugging into the process, we got more natural color of the plastic that can sell for the burn price. So we have the double margin here. 60 cents of mixed color compared to 1.05 of 1.05 of the selling price that they can sell this natural color per kilograms. And that provides a lot of versatility of the product as well if we have the more natural color of plastic here. So we introduced a new way of reborning the plastic waste into this world. The first innovation that we create is the solution that can disturb the color on the plastic packaging. That is really, we use it every day. From when we wake up, when we going to sleep again, we use everything that's contained in the packaging that have the printing on it. It's hard to avoid all that printing marketing that they would like to use in that packaging, right? So we willing to solve that technology by dissolving that color with our specific formulation. And the product is very impressive. It's go to more natural color, and after that, the mechanical recycler can get this product, can get this colorless flake into the mechanical recycle process again. So the question is, after we dissolve all these things, where the chemical go for? After this, where is the solvents go for? So we create a membrane technology that can close loop for this thing. The membrane technology that we use here is based on the chitosan and cellulose, which is the waste, abundant waste in the global level. As well as the solution that we use here is extract from the orange, which is really safe for everyone who work around the recycling system. Also, it's safe for our world as well because it's not emit any pollution when we use it. So we close the loop here by combining these two techniques together, chemical recycling and the membrane that can separate the color. So these two work well to recycling the technology here that's closed loop of the plastic. But let me begin with the passion that's come a long way to this company. We begin with this thing. We would like to have an innovation-driven company, but not that easy. Like somebody look to me, what this hot nut can do for the world? Are you serious? Can you really change the world? No, I said back to them, just watch me. And we start our lab in the kitchen. Obviously, we have the pH meter there. Sir, I learned from this thing. I learned from this top term that even you, at the lowest point of your life, you still have to measure the pH of your product. right? But everyone said to me, you cannot innovate any formulation that's work well to change the world. But we did it. We distribute the product to UN in the next year. During the COVID time hit, we create the formula that is the sanitizer that look like exactly like the water, but it kills 99% of bacteria or virus during that time. No harmful material, no alcohol, no discoloration effect. So we sell this chemical to UN refugee and distribute to other side of the refugee. That's how the story come from. And we also expert in the formulation, the new formulation that change the world. For example, the Mr. Clean product is launching in Gourmet and Home Depot in United States right now. We're launching this product to use in the robotic cleaner. Robotic cleaner is very hard to find the chemical to work with because it's always clogged the nozzle. And that's how I enter the company to link with my passion to change the world. Because my passion is based on innovation-driven thing that can sustain in this world like forever. That's unique from anyone else. So we create something that can tackle this problem. The multi-layer problem that is been in the world for a long time, but no one can fix it yet. And also the color impurity. So we want to tackle that problem from the lab to save the world. We're starting from the multi-layer, as I showed before. We collaborate with the Data Pack and Unilever to get the product from them and get started to recycle all the plastic layer that's attached with the aluminum foil there. So we would like to dissolve the plastic at the very beginning. After that, in the second year, we're focusing more on the discoloring, the color impurity now. So we try to find a segment that we're gonna fit in. So we have the PP and HDPE packaging that we focus on first to dissolve the color from that packaging, because this packaging is used in personal care, in home care packaging in your daily life. And the very end of this last year, we shipped the focus to LDPE packaging. This packaging is have a huge impact, allow 40% of market segmentation right now. So we're focusing more on the LDPE flexible packaging. That's how the story starts from saving the world from the color of the past that you print on the plastic. So we began with the incubation network. We joined with Sasin and Second Mill in the collaboration together. And then I expand my validation to the customer initiative support and the validation with Data Pack, Unilever, and Union JPS. And we just got the letter of intent from one company yesterday as well to implement our process in that recycling, mechanical recycling process. And the next step, we would like to scale up this operation, make it prototype, validate with the large scale. We can do up to like 1 ton right now, and we would like to expand it into the continuous 4 process. In the end, we aim to be a game changer for this industrial business, recycling industry. Let's talk about connecting to the sustainability right now. We have all 4 aspects, obviously, from the process and product we would like to sell to the market right now. Yeah.
Sorry I interrupt you. Just to get a line in it. You talk about before you use a chemical. This chemical, what is that? Because as soon as I hear chemical, I get worried.
Yeah. The chemicals we use is extract from the orange. It have like the functions of aromatic oil, but it's obviously from natural derivation. So it's very safe for the worker and for the environment as well. So we're very serious on focusing on how we can save the worker in the environment. So for example, you can see in the in the next section that we're focusing on the LDPE first, because they can use the product from nature, from that extract from the nature. But we're shifting our focus to the other later, because I'm still working on making it better for making the solution more natural. Yeah. So
so also, maybe you go straight to that, so that I think we would like to understand more how it worked. This chemical or the process. That you mentioned, and maybe you come back to this later.
That's a long way, even though. Yeah, so just a moment. So let me talk about the process first to get familiar with what we're using right now. So this is the process of mechanical recycling. that we use nowadays, they use NaOH, sodium hydroxide, to remove the dirt from the plastic waste, the grease and everything in food packaging. And we would like to pack in our process and the washing process right now, and they can remove the color from the plastic like that, and then recirculate back the solution into that process again.
So meaning this will be done during the recycle process?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And our focus is on the LDPE first, flexible packaging, and after that we will ship our product line into dissolving the HDPE product, which is personal care, home care packaging, and we ship our focus on the 5th year to the PP. The reason that we do this is we would like to maintain our environmental friendly and worker friendly point, because the LDPE product line right now, we develop the technology until it's really safe for the worker, for the operator and individual that work in the industry right now. But for the HDPE, it might have the mixture of a harmful chemical, right? So we ship our technology to sell later to make sure that every single technology that's launched from our company is safe for everyone, is safe for environment as well.
So sorry, can you go back to the processing slide? Yeah, so for this one you use the solution to dissolve the ink from the plastic, right? And then you filter it with the membrane. So from this process you're gonna have 2 ways from the process. The first one which is the solution, and the second one which is the membrane. How could you manage on those 2 ways in the process?
Yeah, so actually the waste of the solution is very less. So right now the technology that we develop and validate and replicate for over 100 times is can recirculate back the solutions up to 80%. So 80% is go back to the cycle of itself, but the answer for those 20% is might contaminate with the plastic waste, which will evaporate later in the process because we use a high temp to melt the plastic after that. So that's the answer of 20%. We're still working really hard on that to circulate more than 80% in the process. So the answer about the membrane is really nature friendly material. So when it get back to the nature, it's not harmful to that nature that much, the membrane waste itself. And we actually can fix the membrane every 2 years. The one membrane lasts long for 2 years. That is lifetime in the process. So 2 years you change one membrane, and then that can last. When then compared to the commercialized membrane, which is polymer-based membrane, it can last longer than that. So with the composite material that we use from the chitosan and cellulose. So we try to save the waste that we might possibly generate to the environment, and we're thinking about having a membrane technology combined with this chemical recycling will help circulate back everything into its place, and then don't let anything out. So it's closed loop, perfectly closed loop system. That's where we pack into the system of mechanical recycle. Yeah.
So can your process, I mean, can it replace with the current process? So the current washing, which is the sodium hydroxide, right?
Yeah.
So once you plug in your technology, that means it's gonna be replaced the sodium hydroxide washing process, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that what our aim for. Let's go through the slide. That is how this thing. Yeah. So normally what people have in that factory, people means the mechanical recycler, they have in that factory is the first units on the left-hand side is the washing process that they use in NaOH, right? And we would like to substitute the solution that they use with water and NaOH, sodium hydroxide, with the solutions of our cell, which is actually cheaper than NaOH. Whoa, that's amazing, right? And we have the second unit of the membrane to recirculate back the solution to the washing process again. That's how the operation works. And this equipment is really easy, affordable level, about 10,000 K for one time investment. The solution itself is $20, 20 USD per liter, and the membrane is just 4,000 per 2 years. let me go back to the sustainable that I'm probably present here. And using the time to tracking every aspect that I can have here. Let's begin with the economy. Obviously, we increase the margin up to 50% of price increase compared between mixed color plastic and virgin light plastic, as you can see from the picture in the second slide. And that means we have a good form of the revenue that's go for every stakeholder that involving in the market right now. And we have the recurring revenue from selling the solution and the membrane, and also we can selling the process and licensing out if they want any specific that can customize to their process as well. For the process itself, it's very cost effective because the unit, every equipment that we use very cheap compared to the external. One of the competitor compared to our process is cost about 1 million to plug in their equipment, the whole equipment, which use a lot of heat. Yeah, so we really cheap compared to them and very cost effective by using the plugging in process and operation that I mentioned before. So this is how economic side working. So for the next thing, for the nature, we really care about this from the beginning. As you can see from the visions of the starting point of the company, I would like to be the innovation driver who can change the people everyday life to that perspective of the chemical products. So I care nature a lot, and then I try to embrace every raw material that possible to be a waste, and then combine it to be the material of our process. Make it more valuable is our key part, everything. And that's how the raw material come from. We use the waste, and then we naturally derive the solution that can extract the color from the plastic as well. For the process itself, it's used non-energy intensive, and it's less need for the additional infrastructure. That means you can go back into the mechanical recycle without using any land for setting up your own factory as well. For the well-being and integrations, as mentioned before, our solution is very environmental friendly and also worker friendly as well. This is really safe for the individual operator or the employee who work a lot as earlier. So we would like to offer that aspect of the process that can offer the natural chemicals that dissolve the huge problem away. And we use a lower temperature, which is safer for the operations as well. For the well-being, other aspects, we reduce up to 65% of the microplastic problem. That is the impressive percent compared to what we intake per day. So that problem that we intake microplastic per day is a lot because it's go to landfill. We don't know what it's going to end up to. Oh, okay, the answer is our body now. So yeah, well-being is so to dissolve or that color can help saving the microplastic from the environment. And we have the sanitary list here that can reduce by decrease the waste that is allowed, especially for the developing country. They immerse into the waste field, the plastic waste field, landfill, right? So I would like to stop that problem by integration of this technology together. We aim to use this technology not only for flexible packaging, but for every single packaging in the future.
May I ask, for example, like 65% reduction, how do you get that figure?
Yeah, I compare between the plastic that we landfill and compare to the portions of the plastic that we can use our technology with in each year around the world. Yes. And then the next thing is about the aspect to the society. You might wonder how this is going to affect to the society overall, right? The society overall, we can reduce the waste, which means it can have the better community development because they increase the margin in selling the recycled plastic. That means they have the lowering rate of the waste that littering on the landfill. So we save for community, we save for the recycler who can gain more benefit to protect their employee, which might come from community around them as well. And we're meeting the demand of the global needs right now. The global need right now is EU just launched a regulation that every single packaging in the market have to be contained with the recycled plastic up to 60%. So we met with them with the higher quality product that can fit into the market back again and fabricate into the packaging. And after you fabricate the packaging, you color it as you want, as the market need. And then we can dissolve it. Let me take care of the problem and then dissolve problem away for you. That's how Reborn Plus works. So our stakeholder in the recycling system now, we have three main stakeholders, the waste collector, plastic recycler, and the end customer, which is the manufacturers such as P&G, Unilever, who produce our daily life, home care, personal care. We use every day from the morning. And we would like to offer the option to lower investment. And that means they got the higher value added to that product. So we can plug into two of the stakeholders here, the process, the waste collector and plastic recycler. The personnel of them is we targeting on the SME first, who have the revenue allowed 600K to 6 million and have 50 to 200 employees. They should have the cleaning process in their factory, so we can target with this scope and expand the market. After SME to be the Asians, we aiming to expand the market to Asian countries like Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, because these three main countries have a pollution problem, have a waste problem that they cannot manage well. So after interview with the customer, we confirm that the margin is very thin compared between the mixed color plastic and the natural color plastic. And they're suffering a lot, and they're willing to implement all this process in their recycling process as well. We talked about this operation already, so Reborn process plugged in the middle instead of the traditional washing process, and we will turn that product into more virgin-like plastic. This is really simple, less complicated, less cost to invest at the beginning. Talking about the market segmentation right now, and I give you the example of the picture that the flexible packaging from LDPE film gas is take up to 40% of market segmentation. That's how the story begin to focus on that flexible packaging first. And after that, we will shift our focus more on the HDPE and PP. Right now, we validate some technology that can work well with HDPE and PP as well. But what we have to work on more is to make it more environmental friendly, as I mentioned before. So the regulation is shifted to support it to have more higher quality of product. So Reborn Plus technology is ready to taking this. And this is me to taking all the waste, and that one is from the data pack. That waste is from 1 hour production. 1 day production, sorry. Yeah, and then this thing is what the traditional method is. What they have, they put it in the recycling system, and then they just dry it and melt it and make it the pellet and sell to the customer who is the manufacturing. So that's how they work right now. So we would like to be the game changing for dissolving it before back into the melting and pelletizing. Let's talk about the size of the market right now. For the total addressable market right now, we have about 80 billion, including the loss for all resin in the world. And we scoping down to the market that is specific for packaging, which costs about 470 million. And then we're focusing more on the LDPE first, that have the color impurity problem. So that's scoping down to 100 million for the first year. The timeline of our company is, the first phase is we got collaborate with very useful, very helpful project with Sasin and Second Mill all together to have the lab validation. And then in the 5th year, we would like to launch the PP, HDPE, and LDPE together to dissolve our color impurity product. There. The financial model, we gain about...
Sorry, so you're selling the membrane technology
and the solution.
Not the recycle plant.
We're not doing the
So,
plan. Yeah.
okay.
Just solution, membrane, and integrate the process into what they have. So the financial model is weakened about 18 times after the first year, on the 5th year. That's the return of how the product works. And our team is, I'm the PhD candidate from Georgia Tech in Chemical Engineering Department. I'm working for the petrochemical company for 5 years, and then I go to Georgia Tech to continue my PhD. Emma is a household chemical license holder who can create a lot of magic through the chemicals. Pantas and Love with Joyous for the financial and operation analysis right now. And we have advisory boards, Dr. Scott, who is the expert in the renewable product, and Dr. Nick as well.
I see on the other screen that your time is up.
Yeah.
Are there any final questions, or are you satisfied?
Actually, I wish I have a small machine in my house. and I wish in the future every house has a small machine for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I wish I could get to that part too. So to get to that part, I need your guys' support for that thing. Yes.
Good one. Then it will be on the slide for 2035, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for your presentation. Well done. Let's give her an applause. So that concludes the end of the sustainability round. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. My sustainability heart is warm right now, warm and fuzzy. I really liked it. So thank you to all the participants. Thank you for your presentations, for your hard work, but also thank you very much for our judges, for your concentrations, your good and feisty questions. You really, really made it hard for the contestants, which is really good. You really had to prove themselves. And the results are in tomorrow, not today. So that's it. Thank you everyone for coming, and good luck tomorrow in the final round if you go through the actual finals of the Bangkok Business Challenge. Thank you.